Suicide Squad was just awful. At least that's what people seem to think about it. I thought it was great. Hello and welcome to the show with reviews. I'm Auram, and today we're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad movie that just came out that is very polarizing and slightly controversial. So, let's get started. Okay, so jumping right into what I liked about the movie, I thought it was overall pretty good. It wasn't the best thing in the world, it definitely has its flaws, but it is not deserving of what the critics are panning it for. And honestly, I can see where the critics are coming from, but I think they're being a little too harsh on it. It's just a fun movie overall. The acting was great, everything felt totally natural, people just felt unobtrusive, and everything was great. Like, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller was perfect, and Will Smith as Deadshot, which he was kind of the lead of the film, even though it's kind of a group film, he was also on point. And a big worry that people had kind of going into this movie was that it was going to be a Harley Quinn and Joker movie, which, honestly, I was kind of worried about myself, but Harley Quinn is just one of the members here. It's definitely not a Harley Quinn movie. Harley does have her big moments, but they're few and far between, and honestly, every character in this movie does get a big moment to some extent. Harley's moments were about the same as Deadshot's moments, and I will admit that those two characters were kind of more prevalent than the rest of the squad, which makes sense because Harley Quinn is Harley Quinn and Will Smith is Will Smith. And lastly, I want to say something about the soundtrack. I thought it was fun, upbeat, all that kind of stuff, kind of like Guardians, which a lot of people are comparing it to. But enough about what I liked about the movie, let's move on to what I didn't like about the movie. So my biggest kind of overall issue with this movie is that the tone was kind of off. It feels like it was shot as a DC movie, but edited as a Marvel movie. It's like in production, they went with one tone, but when they actually got into post-production and started editing, they realized more of what they wanted from the movie, and those things just kind of clashed. I almost feel like if the movie was shot brighter or some of the sets kind of changed, the editing would not have clashed as much with what we saw on screen. Other than that, the writing was pretty poor at certain points. There's a lot of plot holes, and Enchantress, who's the villain, is just, she's just normal superhero, like, I want to destroy the world type of villain, so And I will say, this is a very character-driven movie, and I said this about Guardians as well. The villain and the plot kind of takes a back seat when you have a movie like this, where you just kind of want to see all these crazy characters kind of interact. And yes, it would have been better if we had a villain who was fully fleshed out that we hadn't seen before, but we'll take what we can get. And one last nitpick I had about the movie is it seems like a very easy film to watch from the perspective of someone who knows what these characters do and are, but for someone who doesn't, they might be a little bit confused. So yeah, that's my main review of the movie. We're gonna jump into spoilers now, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers for the movie, skip ahead. I'm sure there's an annotation somewhere where you can skip to, or just leave. This is your warning. Right off the bat, Slipknot was amazing. He was perfect. What do we want, Scott?
Slipknot solo film, hashtag Slipknot solo film.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Slipknot, was the one in the Suicide Squad who was pretty much the example. They killed him instantly. The only thing that I think they could have done better is if they did build him up as an actual character and gave him this, bio and everything, and then they just kill him immediately. In the actual movie, he just kind of showed up and was like, hey, I'm Slipknot, I'm here now, and then he's dead. Speaking of building characters up more, I do think that some of the characters like Boomerang and stuff should have gotten a little more backstory. Like, a lot of them just kind of either showed up, like Katana just kind of showed up, didn't have much backstory given to them like Harley or Deadshot did. Turning back around to more spoilery stuff, Flash showed up. That was real cool and unexpected. It was like a split second, which is, I guess, is kind of Flash's thing, but he was great. It was cool. That's a step in the right direction of the DC kind of movie universe being more interconnected. And honestly, DC seems to be more liberal than Marvel with putting, bigger known characters into their smaller movies. I doubt we would have seen Iron Man or something show up in this equivalent of a movie. A good comparison is the Falcon cameo in Ant-Man. I feel like that would have happened in DC, but instead of Falcon, we would have gotten Captain America or something like that. One last thing before I talk about the post-credits scene, Harley's Jester costume was real weird. It showed up for maybe 10 seconds, and it just, I don't know, it felt forced and just kind of weird. I'm pretty sure they were trying to replicate this cover, which is cool. I mean, DC has been doing that a lot with their movies, where they try and replicate cool covers from the comics, and that's awesome, but it just felt weird. I don't know. Okay, the post-credits scene. It felt very out of place and forced. It was kind of setting up Justice League. It's Bruce Wayne and Amanda Waller just talking, and Waller's like, hey, why do you need these files? And Bruce Wayne's like, I want some friends, because I'm real lonely. So he takes the files, and it's just, all the metahumans, I assume. Enchantress and Aquaman and the Flash are in there. So that's cool, I guess. I mean, it doesn't get me excited for anything, because I already know that Justice League is happening and that Bruce Wayne is the one who's going to go around and form it because of the trailer. So yeah, that's my review. Of course, I could talk hours about more stuff for this film, but that's the biggest points that I wanted to kind of get across here. So yeah, let me know what you thought about Suicide Squad. I know this film is very polarizing, probably just as polarizing as Batman v Superman, so let's talk about it in the comments. That all being said, be sure to subscribe before you head out so you don't miss out on anything that I upload every other Wednesday and every Saturday. And of course, thank you so much for watching. Next time,